thought stock of the day, take a look at Boral. Boral will return $3 billion to shareholders. It'll do it through a special cash distribution of $2.72 a share, comprised of a capital reduction and an unfranked dividend. Markets taking kindly to the news. The stock up 6%. I also noticed they've done a deal with the tax office. On the tax implication, it's confirmed that no part of the capital reduction will be treated as a dividend. And the ATO is expected to issue a class ruling regarding the capital reduction. This should contain details on how shareholders will need to treat the return. Rudi, what did you think of the announcement and Boral's share price at the moment?
I think the share price says it all.
Yep.
In a broader sense, this is one of the reasons why a whole bunch of laggards, market laggards, who have not really been well for shareholders over the past, let's call it past few years.
Yep.
Well, in this year they might actually become interesting, and
right.
and Boral is showing why that is. I mean, if they are able to sell assets at a reasonable price and then return to shareholders, it's in your pocket. I mean, it doesn't disappear by the next sell-off you have in the markets. Having said so, investors who want to jump on board here, they have to realize that the market is quite efficient. I mean, right. Once this is paid out to shareholders, it will be out of the share price. So it's not right. like you're getting anything for free here.
Okay, so you've got to, shareholders will register for this if they're on the register on February 7th.
Yeah. So you still have time. That's what the share price is telling you.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yes.
So, is there any free money to be made of buying Boral at 624, or is that now already being built in?
I'm not so sure. Maybe a little bit, but I'm not so sure. And I think, in general terms, often when you chase stocks and the payout is quite close nearby, you're sometimes just chasing your tail. I mean, right. I would think that you buy Boral because of the fundamentals that at the moment, I have to say, don't look as bad as they have been for the past few years.
Right.
And some people out there are convinced, for example, that the local housing market here still has 2-3 good years under its belt.
Yep.
In that case, all else being equal, Boral should perform quite well. It should be supported by those market dynamics. Having said so, I'm not a big fan of owning companies that have a very checkered past.
Right. And
I'm probably being mild now about Boral.
Exactly.
So I'm not a big fan of stocks like Boral. I personally think you seek out the quality in a sector and you take that through the cycle. And in this case, that would be James Hardie,
right.
which on the quality scale doesn't even see where Boral sits on the ladder.
Right.
And but hey, and also Boral, we should all realize now, is 70% controlled by Stokes and his mates. So you really are a minority shareholder, and the company's basically run for the 70% shareholder at this point in time.
Right.
And that also for me is often a sign of not going there. I mean, there are other examples like a Virgin, for example, before they went bankrupt, that the float is really too small. And you better have companies that have a very large liquidity and a very large number of shareholders.
Okay. All right. So
I wouldn't chase it.
And I'm not putting my biased
hat
on because I have links there. But okay, Boral, checkered history.
Yes.
Regarded as being badly managed.
Mm.
You're
being mild now.
Right, mild.
Yes.
Big investor comes in.
Yes.
To keep it honest.
Yes.
To get rid of its dogs, its skeletons in the cupboard.
Yes.
And act more in the interest of shareholders. So why shouldn't you follow? Well, that big shareholder.
The share price is not exactly cheap here. So what you're counting on is that the forecast of Boral will prove better than currently is priced in, which is not inconceivable.
Maybe you've missed the boat.
But it would have been better if you bought it at a little bit at a lower price before today's rally, for example, would make a big difference.
Maybe when the Stokes bought in.
Yes.
Great. Kevin, what did you think of the announcement today, and do you like Boral as a stock?
It's interesting. I have to agree with Rudi, and it's not one of the stocks that we look at Teaminvest, largely, as Rudi says, because of its checkered past. You know, we like a long history of good returns. What's interesting to me is to look at the strategy, because what Stokes is saying, or what they are saying, is that they're selling off all their overseas underperforming assets in order to focus on reinvigorating the Australian business. Historically, of course, businesses trying to move overseas out of Australia, it's very, very difficult, and most of them don't succeed. Would seem to be the case with this one as well. And I wonder if maybe that is what they put to the tax office, because effectively what's happening, the small dividend is unfranked, and I wonder if they put to the tax office that by coming fully back to Australia, we'll be paying Australian tax. So I wonder if that was one of the things they mentioned. I mean, obviously, I don't know. But yes, I agree with Rudi. It's not one that that I would look at the moment. And yes, with a kick up in price in particular, it's you know, I find it difficult to try and anticipate what it would do in the future and to be confident about future returns.
Okay.